Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel. Welcome to episode 4 from the series Heaven, Hell and Uncertainties. Today we are going to explore Sodom and Gomorrah, lessons from the ashes, understanding the biblical story and its legacy. Are they in hell? So, in the beginning, we're gonna try to understand the context. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before Yahweh exceedingly. And Yahweh said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous. Within their circle, everything seemed fine, but that misses the larger picture. Our fundamental truth is our reliance on our Creator for every breath we take. And the real challenge lies in aligning ourselves with the moral standards expected of us. So the context, the first step in understanding who they are is to define, according to the Bible, what is considered wicked, sinful exceedingly, and a very grievous sin. According to the Strong Concordance, the Hebrew word translated as wickedness, H7489, typically suggests a continuous, which becomes a habit, deliberate choice to participate in morally corrupt or harmful actions or to maintain such attitudes. This implies that wickedness is not accidental, but a sustained behavior or character trait chosen by the individual. So habitual sin refers to a pattern of sinning that is consistent and intentional. It's not about a one-time failure or mistake, but involves repeatedly engaging in the same sin, often with full awareness of its wrongness. This kind of sin suggests a deliberate choice and a refusal to repent or change one's behavior. In a biblical context, habitual sin can indicate a hardened heart or a deliberate turning away from Elohim commandments. It's often associated with a conscious rejection of Elohim's ways. So habitual sin implies that engaging in such behavior is a deliberate choice, which contrasts with certain views that suggest people might be born with certain inclinations and therefore might not have the complete control over their actions. These terms suggest that the behavior in question is a result of conscious, repeated decisions and is not a genetic anomaly. The Hebrew term often translated as grievous in the context of Genesis 18:20 referred to the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah is kabed. This word can mean heavy, severe, burdensome, or serious. It implies that sin or wrongdoing in question is not just minor or trivial, but carries significant weight in terms of its wickedness or severity. This reflects the gravity of the offenses committed by the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah in the biblical narrative, which were viewed as so serious that they necessitated divine intervention. So, Elohim, here we have the Elohim instruction regarding this subject. You shall not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. If a man also lies with mankind as he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. Know you not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim? Be not deceived. a direct, straight message for the ones that are challenged with this kind of habitual sin. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor sodomy, nor abuser of themselves with mankind shall inherit the kingdom of Elohim. And likewise, also the men living the natural use of the woman, burning their lust one toward another, man with man, working that which is unseemly. Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the wicked and disobedient, for the unholy and for sinners, for them without Yahweh and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men-stealers, for liars, for perjured person, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. So we have the same narration, the same attitude towards sin. Absolutely, we know the facts. We know Elohim approach regarding this subject. So everything is clear. Throughout the Bible is the same message. Abomination. Remember the former things of old, for I am El, and there is none else. I am Elohim, and there is none like me. So who is in charge of humanity? Elohim created humans along with moral laws, setting the standards and guiding principle for humanity based solely on his will. He is the sole authority and has the exclusive right to establish moral order. Humanity belongs to him, and only he has the authority to determine our moral direction and purpose. So is no other individual or institution to bring different moral values. Absolutely not. Whosoever sin transgress also the Torah, the law. For sin is the transgression of the Torah or the law. And Yahweh said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. So he went personally to visit these two locations and to observe, to analyze, to judge. And Abraham drew near and said, will you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? From this we can understand that the character of Yahweh doesn't lead to the punishment of Sodom and Gomorrah without proper analysis. Abraham questioning on this matter highlights the nature of Yahweh, identifies who the sinner is, and clarifies the judgment for that specific situation as well as the judgment for the entire world. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Mashiach, that everyone may receive the things done in his body, according to what he has done, whether be good or bad. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10. Also, who will render to every man according to his deeds. Romans chapter 2, verse 6. So in his view, there is a significant difference between a wicked person, a habitual sinner, someone who has lost their moral compass, and someone who sins unintentionally and seeks forgiveness. So their wickedness, sinful habitual choice, and they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men who came in to you this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. Genesis 19, verse 5. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxen great before the face of Yahweh. And Yahweh sent us to destroy it. So the judgment day is here for them. If Elohim decides to bring the end, nobody can do anything against that decisions. As we read in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 15, behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he takes up the isles as a very little thing. Then Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahweh out of the heavens. And he overthrew those cities and all the circle of Jordan and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. Also, we were advised to remember Lot's woman, as we read in Genesis 19 verse 26. But his woman looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. So, where are they? If you believe that are in hell, are you certain about that, and why? If hell exists, it implies that inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah, along with Lot's wife, have been enduring intense suffering for thousands of years, persisting in a state of continuous torment. Additionally, when Jesus or Yahushua HaMashiach mentions that Sodom will be restored on the judgment day, he is not referring to the physical city, but rather to its former residents. Amen, I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. So the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, which happened roughly 2,000 years before the time of Messiah, serve as a historical reference in his teachings. When he spoke of these ancient cities, he projected their fate into a future context, specifically related to the day of judgment. This perspective suggests that the final judgment has not yet occurred, as we are still awaiting the end of the world. So their situation is not yet fully resolved. There is more to unfold in this specific case. Their impact remains, and the practices observed in that context will continue until the second coming. The action was predicted and identified as a form of wickedness characteristic of the end times. We read in Ezekiel chapter 16 verse 50, and they were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore I took them away as I saw good. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live in wickedness. Is anything we can do? Can we stop if the Creator decides to bring the judgment? Do we have that kind of power? No, we don't. The only option we have is to submit to His standard, or to reject, habitually reject His moral standard. Wickedness, as understood in a biblical sense, leans more towards the idea of sin being a result of free will and moral choice rather than a genetic anomaly. So there you go. History repeats itself. So what happened to them, the Bible, it's telling us that is going to happen in the future. As we read in Revelation 21 verse 8, but the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, idolaters, liars, shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Just as Sodom and Gomorrah faced their downfall through fire and brimstone, a similar fate awaits at the end of the times. Those who defend, engage in, or advocate for acts deemed abominable will encounter a similar divine reckoning, marked by fire and brimstone as an act of judgment. So it's not my view. Please read as many times you want Revelation chapter 21 verse 8. And again we read in Revelation 22 verse 15. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loves and makes a lie. So lessons. Lesson number 1. Habitual sin leads to spiritual death, and forgiveness may not be extended, as it's not merely a one-time mistake, but a recurring pattern of behavior. Second lesson. They are not in hell. Instead, they reside in a state of unconsciousness awaiting the day of judgment. Third, hell was invented by the devil to create a false image of our Father, a loving and compassionate Creator. Fourth lesson, hell as a place where people have suffered for thousands of years is a creation of Roman Catholicism and belongs to mythology. Fifth lesson, to learn when the Creator decides to stop evil. If we plan and execute harmful things, we will be eliminated. And the last one, if the world is full of habitual sin, sinning deliberately and pretending that nothing is wrong, is the divine judgment closer? Just think about it. So, are you confused? Are we confused? The best solution is found in Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 7. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask your father and he will show you, your elders and they will tell you. So when you feel tempted to act in ways that clash with ethical standards rooted in our spiritual heritage, resist the urge to consult sources that may not uphold these morals. Remember, we are not simply products of influencers, businesses, or government institutions that might promote principles conflicting with our creators. We are created in the likeness of our Elohim, to whom we truly belong. Thus, the more genuine way to resolve such conflicts is by turning to our Creator for direction and understanding. So in closing, we read Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 19. I call the heavens and the earth to record this day against you, that I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your seed may live. May all be inspired to act.